Hey gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thank you very much for making some time out of your day to watch the video. Just want you guys to know I never take that for granted, and I know there's a ton of YouTube channels out there, so much appreciate you guys spending a little time with me on mine. Thank you very much. Guys, today we're going to we're going to talk about, give some tips and advice on how to put line on a spinning reel and not get line twists with it with straight fluorocarbon. One of the reasons I wanted to do this, we'll get into it in a second, is that I've got a lot of inquiries lately about it. We talked about it a little bit in the past, but apparently there's a lot of people that still have not got the tips and stuff that I've talked about here. So I'm going to go through the whole thing and show you guys what I figured out where I just don't get line twists using straight fluorocarbon. Before we get started, guys, just a weekly reminder. If you haven't had a chance, I'd like to invite everybody to swing by fishthemoment.com and check out our spring lake map breakdowns. We got breakdowns of most all the major lakes across the country. If you guys want to learn more about some good spots, or if you fish the lake or don't fish the lake, it's a good resource to get a good foundation for that lake. So I'll put the Fish the Moment lake map breakdown link in the description. You can check it out there. Thank you very much. Okay, guys, let's talk about this a little bit. You guys that have watched the channel a little bit, excuse me, you know that I do not use braid to fluorocarbon on spinning outfit. I'm an advocate of straight fluorocarbon. I've done a lot of videos on it explaining why that is. So I'm not going to get into it in this video. What I want to do is I want to give you guys some tips on how to not get line twist if you use straight fluorocarbon, because the biggest complaint I hear about people that are hesitant about that is they think it just twists my line. But if you're getting line twists, you're not doing it right. So I'm going to give you guys the juice on how to eliminate that, and then you can start using straight fluorocarbon and start catching more fish than you would otherwise. Okay, first of all, there's several different things you can do. The first thing you have to do is pay attention when you're spooling the line on. Pay attention to the way that your reel is turning like this. See how it's turning from left to right like that? Make sure when you're spooling your line that you set the line up in a direction where it comes off the spool the same way that it's turning on your reel. Now, you can't really go by the label on this. Like, for example, I do use Seaguard and VizX all the time for my spinning reels and bait casting. But sometimes the label is put on one side, and the thing about that is sometimes, depending upon how you put the spool, it's either going to go off the same way or the opposite way. And you don't want to put your line on coming off the opposite way of the spool. So the way that you can do that, the way that you can test that really quickly is, say for example, if you're spooling a little bit like that, give your line some slack. And if your line twists like that real fast, you got it on wrong. So flip it over, because when you're spooling, you're putting tension on it, and you release that tension, there shouldn't be much of the line twist when you reduce that tension. So you can either do it like that, or you can just make sure it's going on the same way like that. The next thing you can do, guys, is take your line, and this is another way that you, for whatever reason, you don't have to worry about if it's up to the right. Take your line and put it in a bucket of water, like it's got to be a fairly large bucket to allow this to spool free. And when it comes off, when it's coming off a bucket of water, it's going to come off just like this, almost like a bait caster. And if you put a lot of tension when you're spooling the line, and the fact that the line's wet, that's a big reducer in the amount of fluff, or the amount of twist that you're going to get in line. For whatever reason, that's another good way to do it. And a lot of times I just don't have a bucket of water laying around handy, so I'll do it the way I just explained it. And also another thing you can do is you can just toss it in the lake. If you're at the lake, throw your spool in there and you can spool it straight out of the lake. That I've done that. Another way that you can do it is put some line conditioner. Line conditioners out there's a lot of different ones on the market, but line conditioners will help you from getting the line twist. And another thing you can do is make sure when you feel your line up in there, don't fill it all the way flush to the outside lip there. Leave about, anywhere between a 1/16 to an 1/8 of an inch. That'll keep you from getting a lot of bird's nest. Doesn't really have much to do with twist, but that will eliminate a lot of bird's nest. And finally, the thing you can do is inherently, you are going to get some line twists when you cast. Say, for example, if you're throwing a jerk bait or whatever, when that bait sails through the water like that, it's going to spin a little bit as you make your cast. And by doing that, you're going to get some line twist in there just naturally. Or if you're fishing a shaky head or a drop shot, a lot of times when you start reeling in like that, the shaky head or the drop shot will spin as you're coming in, and it'll get line twist. So that is the byproduct. That's an uncontrolled variable that you have. But what you can do to eliminate that twist is once every 2 or 3 or 4 hours, simply cut your lure off and allow the line to go out behind your boat, if you have a boat, and troll around for about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and let that line unspool and unwind. It'll straighten it out, and then it'll be back to new again. So anyway, guys, that's a few things that I do. Like I said, I don't have any problem with line twist. In the rare occasions I do get it, like I said, after I'm fishing with a certain bait for a while, then I do that. We'll take that into consideration as far as trailing it behind the boat. A lot of times I don't have time to do that, so I'll have to deal with a little bit of line twist. But overall, the advantages of me using straight fluorocarbon line far outweigh any minor line twists that I may get. It's a more efficient way. You get more bites. It's more user friendly. You don't have to retie as much. It encourages you to retie, but you don't have to retie 2 different knots by not using braided fluorocarbon. So anyway, guys, just a few quick tips there. I think that's going to help out, eliminate a lot of those problems. So hope it works for you guys, and we'll talk later.